They all with Ron. Oh, yes, I have. Only where he's at. Well, we're all getting situated. If Citrano would listen up, could we have either all of the retirees here stand up or at least raise your hand so Ron can see what he's getting into? Look around, Ron. They're all around the place. Larry's, you went back to work. You don't count. Okay, that's what you're looking forward to. Okay, we're gathered here. We're going to have salute the flag. Was that part of this? We're gathered here tonight to, honor. Somebody wrote down honor. To get rid of Ron Knock. Ron has been a special friend of mine for a long time. His devoted family, part of it's shown up. Now I want to tell you the devotion this family has. They're a loving family. A year ago, I think it was, Ron, when they bought this big $500 package for you to do the airplane flying thing. Now this was an hour ground school and an hour flight, and he flew against another aircraft in dogfights. Now I've seen the tape, and it's the funniest damn tape I've ever seen in my life. But this family was so loving. On his birthday, they give him that and many other things. But what he doesn't know, that Tim told me, is they also bought $1 million insurance policy, and they're the beneficiaries. That's a loving family. Vicki, would you please stand up? This is Ron's lovely wife, and how she puts up with him, who knows? And while we're in that, for you. Not you,
read the card.
I need my glasses.
I can't hear you.
Do I have to read it?
Yeah.
Because you've meant so much to me. With love, Frank.
Whoa.
Thanks, Frank.
Can I help you? No. Don't step on the gift. Some of them may be good. Okay, let's go on with the introductions. Somebody wrote down here, Belinda, the loving daughter. She's our hall monitor. Belinda, you want to stand up? She works at Jack Baptist. Now we got a couple of guests all the way from, boy, that's a lot of fun. All the way from Orange County, and I'm riding home with them. Their son, Tim and Jerry. Tim owns a plumbing shop in Orange County, and Ron has been telling us, the lunch bunch, that he is going to be the executive. I asked Tim what the hell that meant. He says, "Where's all that stuff go when you flush a toilet?" Sounds like this is your life, doesn't it, Ron? There was one other guest. I don't see him. Maybe he didn't show up. Our first speaker was going to be here, but he couldn't show up. Where is our other guest? He's still putting on his costume?
Yeah.
Well, our first speaker, probably the only speaker that's worth a damn, that was going to come tonight, couldn't make it. And I understand he had a hell of a conversation with you on the telephone, so I brought his picture just in case anybody wanted to remember. What the hell, is she having trouble getting a suit on or what? No, you. No. Don't let him.
Don't look. Yeah. This is your life. This is your life.
mystery guest is on her way.
Can I look?
No. I don't know whether Ron knows this person very well or not. Doesn't see him a lot, but Steve, knock. Steve flew in from Phoenix. Was it yesterday afternoon, I guess, last night? Thanks a lot for coming, Steve. I think. Got his pipe, got that done title. Ron has some very, he's expertise in other fields other than planning. What do you call it? Cap planning? Which he doesn't understand anyways, does he, Bill? Can you come here a minute? You've got to show me something. I understand.
My glasses?
No. Matter of fact, we're going to take mine off. I understand. Now we got to get out here because you got to show me
Okay.
that you have some specialty when you go to Vegas. And it's something to do with elevators. Jumping in elevators and hitting your head.
Look at something else.
Okay.
Explain.
Explain what? Well, that's up to him to explain. Hell, I don't know.
I'm not going to explain that one.
Something about when the elevator started down, he jumped up and hit his head on the overhead.
He was showing his granddaughter.
Oh. Oh, that's right. You were a strict father, but not so strict with grandchildren. I'm out of things to say. I had a lot to say, but somebody stole it. So I think let's start with some of the speakers tonight. We'll start with, well, I was going to start with him, but in his place, Mr. Nice Guy is still here. Everybody's friend, Gene Wallach.
Your voice wasn't projecting very much, I got to tell you that.
Yours didn't either. What'd you say?
Most people come to a gathering like this for two reasons. One is to wish the retiree well. The other is to make sure he leaves. Now, I've got to assume that the majority of the people in here are wishing you well in your retirement. Now, we did a little study on Ron and his history with the company, and we're keeping it clean. I went Lou and Sue Campo's ear, and for that she'll do anything for me. So I had the privilege of going through his folder, and I said, this is kind of interesting. So what I did is had the Pollock up in Tech Pubs put together a little poster board here. And what this is, like anybody who joins a company, they kind of grow like a tree. Now this may look like a little sapling growing in somebody's front yard, but if we'd have put what this actually represents in its true form, it would have been a sequoia. Now there's a few names on here, I'm sure Ron will recognize them. Every one of these people on here gave him at least one merit increase in his tenure with the company. Nicasio gave him 8.
Nicasio did?
You got to me for 3. What the hell are you complaining about? 36 merit increases. That's not bad, seeing as they only came around once a year. And how many years did you work for us?
Those are automatic.
Those are automatic, right? I never miss an opportunity to stroke the boss, so you'll notice that Fisher's at the top. And any resemblance between this and this week's organization chart is purely coincidental. I'm not done.
That's right, I know what that is.
Now, this is not for Ron at all. This is for Tim. Now, you probably have some feeling of confidence, security, trust. The old man's coming to work for you, right? Years ago, he worked for me directly, and one of his jobs was to buy all the parts in the world that we required for the projects over at the Special Projects. And he would fill out a document called a PR by the ton, wheel him in a wheelbarrow, and expect me to sign him in 5 minutes, or I was holding up his program. He never thought I read him. I have here a replica of one that was written in 1972. Now, Tim, this is for you to frame, and every time you feel confident in letting the old man have control of more than $10 in your organization, I want you to look at this. The description of the part was a Cadillac Coupe de Ville. 1972, they were about $5,000. Specification, V8, all power, bright red. Authorization, program requirement. Mountain B gets away with that all the time. Nobody knows what the hell they do, so who's going to question it? Comments, no inspection required. Ron Knock will check it out. I read this one, and when I yelled out, "Knock, my office now," the entire plant at Mountain B stopped. That's a true story, so this is for you to frame. Okay? So when he's feeling pretty spiffy about how things are going to work, just point to this picture and say, "Not on your life, Dad, not on your life." Now, the third thing, 3 years ago, I had an opportunity to take a little trip that I'd wanted to do all my life, and I got to thank your dad. The company was given an award, this, that, and the other thing, and Ron was on a committee for justifying why somebody should win. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
These are yours. Frame it.
By the way, Gene, you indicated they did something in Mountain B.
You'll never know.
Thank you, Gene. That was very nice. Here we go with this light again.
Change the shadow on
The next speaker, I didn't see her come in. Is Nancy Orr here? Sweet old Nancy Orr. And before she gets here, I want to get one thing straightened out. Tom, you do not have to retire. Is that okay?
That's okay. You said you'd stay here with me.
Oh. I'm going to stay here with her, Tom. Is that okay?
Please.
Oh, he said,
Ron, I'm supposed to roast you. And I thought all day long, what am I going to say about this guy? Right?
right?
We worried about it all day. There were several
didn't
of
worry
us.
about it
We
all day.
didn't. He didn't worry about it. Just I worried about it. Anyway, when we were standing around
Stopwatch is on.
the stopwatch, you didn't tell me I could only talk 2 minutes.
That's why I told you the
Okay.
stopwatch is on.
Anyway, when I was walking around the area getting all of the girls in our area to sign up to come to your party, they said, "Well, who is Ron Knox?"
That was pretty good.
Where's Selena and them? Are you here, Selena? Anyway, I said, "Well, that's a good-looking guy with a mustache." And they said, "Oh, yeah, we know who he is now." Anyway, it was...
Bob Jessing?
It was Bob Jessings. Who's Bob Jessings? Oh. Anyway, we appreciate all the help that you have given us, and we have enjoyed working with you, and I enjoyed you helping me on Stripe Lightning and getting me to interview all these people along with Sheila when my throat was up here, but it was fun, and we really enjoyed it, and we've enjoyed our family occasions on the 4th of July, and I wish you well, and I hope I'm not too far behind you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's get serious for a minute. Gene touched on your past history. I think John McCann can bring us up to speed on some of your long ago.
I've known Ron a long time. Ron, when did you come to work for the company the first time?
56.
Oh, come on. Well, if you came to work before I did, when did I start? I came in March of 1963, and I think everyone in the department was in their 20s. I was in my early 20s, and he looked like he was 14 years old. That's true. And for years, he looked like he was just a teenager. What happened?
That's what the company does to you. I was going to ask something about...
It's not your turn to speak.
Oh, well...
Hey, I have my original badge. I was a fresh-faced kid until I got to know you. Really, Ron was a wonderful guy to work for. When I first came to work for the company, I was pretty fresh out of school and didn't know a lot of things, and it was an unusual job to start with a bunch of unusual people. And nothing's changed, has it? And thinking of a couple of unusual people, his cohort's name was George Lund. George had a photographic memory. He also had some other things wrong with him. He went crazy, literally. And I never knew if Ron had anything to do with that. He couldn't remember to come to work one day, and in fact, he didn't remember to come back and pick up his check. But Ron took it and said he'd see that he got it. Do we have an accounting for that yet? Now, Gene just answered a mystery for me. Frank Nicasio, who dropped dead on the job. We always thought Ron had something to do with it. But if there was 8 raises involved, that couldn't have been true. Well, we did have a mafia over there, that's true. Anyhow, Ron has always been someone that I've known through the years. He's always been an extremely friendly, extremely helpful, warm person. And I've liked knowing his family, watching the kids grow up, watching him grow up. And I certainly wish him well in his retirement. Thank you.
Some of those things are good to know. Before I forget it, Judy's going to have to leave in a minute. Would you stand up? Judy Barth put this whole thing together, guys. Did a good job. Thank you, dear. Okay, on with the speaker. She said she didn't want to speak. She didn't like Ron or something. Okay, we're on with John Caputo now. John is known as the loudmouth in production. Manufacturing, whatever you want to call it. John?
Thanks, Frank. Frank came to me last week and he asked me, he says, can you say a few nice words about Ron?
Did I say nice?
And I says, only if he gives us good cap planning. Now, that's a manufacturing joke, so some of you that don't know about it. Then we passed around this card for everybody to sign. And the people on the line, just like Nancy says, who's Ron Knock, you know? And I says, well, that's him over there. And they says, oh, wait a minute. We thought that was Mike Larici. And the reason for that is, every time we had a problem on the line, Ron would come out and say, my name is Mike Larici, can I help you? And someone asked, it says, well, how long has Ron been here with the company? And he says, we don't know really, because we're still trying to figure out what he does around here.
So's Mike.
I don't know if you've noticed, some of us, you know, lately we've had a turnover in management in the ME department, okay? And some of them haven't lasted too long, but Ron just set the record. He just lasted 60 days. At this time, I'd like to thank Ron, and manufacturing would like to thank Ron for all the support he's given us, especially with Stripe Lighting. He took credit for all that. Right, Sheila? He did a wonderful job, he and his staff did on that, and getting that implemented, because it was very painful at the beginning there. And one passing thought before I leave, Ron. You know you're getting old when you start looking like the picture on your driver's license. Thanks, Ron.
Okay, we got rid of him. We got him off there. Fisher, do you want to say anything? Where the hell are you? You want to say something? This is Mr. Don Fisher, the director of, what is he director of now, Glenn?
I don't know. Do I have a job? Here, you gonna stay up here with me? I wrote down everything I knew about Ron on one piece of paper, but Ron has worked for me for about 1 year, and in that time, I have no idea what he did. And we're going along, and when he announced his retirement, the interesting thing was that everybody thought he was retired already. But after he retired, or announced it, we decided we'd move him into manufacturing engineering, basically to see if we could get something out of him. And it was just absolutely phenomenal. He went over there. Before he complained about cap planning, he complained about the department. He was there 1 week, and he came back and says, everything is working fine. Cap planning is the best planning available. After that, I tried to find, looked around for a replacement for Ron in his position. I found 2 people that were interested, Lucy, the cleaning lady, and Frank Finlay. When I thought of Frank working for me, I eliminated the position. So it's been retired, Ron, in your honor. Just one other comment, Tim. I'd be careful. He mentioned to me that he's got 150 metrics to measure your performance. And he is going to apply for Baldridge next year. So, but anyway, it's been nice working with you, Ron.
Thank you.
One thing you notice Don said is he didn't what Ron did, but he's going to replace him. Mr. Bradshaw, it's about your turn to contradict all of this planning.
All right.
Tell us how nice Ron's been to you in the last 60 days.
My pleasure.
Mike indicated that I may get the department for a while.
Okay, we who work in the ME&IE department want you to know how much we've enjoyed having you there as our supervisor for the past few years. Months. It only seemed like years.
I'm still going to be there tomorrow.
And you've taught us a great deal during the time that you've been there, but with a little luck we can live it down. Okay, we had a luncheon for Ron last week, hoping he would take the hint to leave then, but he just wouldn't go. But we have enjoyed having you most of the time, and and we wish you a lot of luck. Okay, thank you.
Hey, we're humming now. Got him off of there. Whew, a lot of them to go. Schmidt, you're coming up. Are you ready? Not yet. Not yet. Bob Pierce is next. Bob's one of our, he's the bald-headed member of our lunch group. We have a lunch group, 4 or 5 of us go to lunch. By the way, we're taking applications for your name, Ron. For Ron's place in our lunch bunch. And Bob is the only other bald-headed member other than Rita in our group.
Well, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with Ron, and we've been good friends for a long time. He's been part of our lunch group for quite some time. One of the things that I'd asked Tim, who's going to work for, is, we really like to get him something as a going-away present, something to be befitting his position working for Tim. And so I explained to Tim what Ron had indicated to us at lunch of what he thought his responsibilities would be. And after Tim picked himself up off the floor from laughter, I explained to him, he said, well, he expects to be the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. He's going to go down there and kick ass and going to put his feet up on the desk and really make himself quite at home, just like he's been doing for the last how many years? So Tim said, well, that's not quite what I had in mind. Actually, what I'd been thinking about was basically I'm looking for new marketing opportunities. He said, I've got the Orange County market all sewed up with installation of water heaters, dishwashers and dryers and things like that. So really what I was looking for Ron to do was to actually penetrate a new market for me. And as he began to explain what he had in mind for him, I thought, well, boy, your dad is right in touch with this. He'll get right into this with his hands and knees and everything. He'll really enjoy it. And besides which, he has a lot of experience of this. He's been doing this for years. There's no question in my mind that you picked the right guy to work in your business. Based on that, we didn't get him a briefcase because that really didn't quite fit the occasion. However, we did get some tools of the trade, which I want you to come up here, Ron, pick up, because I think you're going to need these. We got you a small.
This I know how to use.
We got you a small one because we know you like to get right into the business.
There you go. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. You can handle it.
That's pretty good, Bob. Glasses, Frank. Uh-oh.
There's one other gift.
There is? Oh, there's a couple other gifts. Oh, is Tim getting excited?
No, I am.
You are? We got a gift that the family wants to present to you. Who in the family's going to... Tim, get up here.
I think Wanda wants
Ron, bring one of your family and get up here. Really should be Tim.
I know, but he's too embarrassed. My brother's too embarrassed.
That's why Ron's going to promote you.
You know, a lot of people won't understand this.
That's all right. They haven't understood anything happening.
This is just something that you have to have if you're going to work for Tim.
I have to have it?
You wouldn't
What
fit
happens
in.
if I don't have it?
You wouldn't fit in if you didn't have it.
Okay.
It's going to make a lot of us jealous, baby.
I know it. That's a phony one. Am I on call?
I have to tell you real quick. My brother.
It's not your turn.
Well, so what? So what? Come on, I'm the hall monitor. No, real quick, I just want to tell you. My brother always, when he got his business, he decided to get a car phone. It would help out, and it has turned into his pacifier. Seriously. And we always make fun of him because he takes it wherever he goes. And if he goes, like last weekend or whatever it was, he went to Magic Mountain and he called to let us know he was going. And then he called from the log ride at Magic Mountain. And then he also called before he was leaving Magic Mountain. And so my dad has to fall into his footsteps. Next time, yeah, that's right. We expect you to check in all the time.
I'm sorry, Belinda, I didn't have you written down here on the speakers list. The next fella gives me great pleasure to introduce. I can't do that. Michael Ritchie, where are you? It's your turn, Michael. Do you want to... I was going to introduce you, and since I'm working for you part-time now. Get off my feet.
I'm sorry. My name is Ron Knock. No, last Friday, we only had about 7 sign-ups. I can't believe the turnout. I guess the word... No, the word got out that if we didn't have more, Ron may not leave. Boy, I'm glad you came. No, I'm here to roast Ron, but let me tell you what happened today. You can't. No, Ron has 1 day to go. He retires tomorrow.
Half a day.
Half a day to go. I called him this morning and said, Ron, I need a status on your goals. And he gave it to me before lunch. That's incredible.
You're not going to read those lies, are you?
No. By the way, Tim, before, I don't know if you established a salary yet, but let me talk to you before you do. You know, Ron in some way reminds me of a professional baseball player. It really does. Over the hill. Overpaid in relationship to his output. He pinch hits a lot in strategic situations, but usually strikes out. He's been traded to different organizations. As you've seen that tree that Gene put up, you can see how many bosses he's had. Sometimes you get draft choices, but he's at the stage of the game now where I got stuck with him. Fisher had him before I did. He begged me. He finally made me an offer I couldn't refuse. A quarter. After he found out that's my level, a quarter. I don't know if you realize that Ron and Vicky purchased a piece of property out in the desert. They're going to build a retirement home out there. This last earthquake subdivided it. They've decided to put a home up on one side, and now I understand you're going to put a ball field on the other.
Ball field?
He heard voices. But all kidding aside, Ron, no, you're going to miss this place. I made a list of a few things you'll probably miss. Getting to work at 6 in the morning. The small talk at the urinals. You're out the lunch bunch.
Right after the urinal. You're all right.
The musical organizational changes. The free paychecks you've been getting. Remember, Tim? Gene Wallach. And of course, what else can I say? Frank. We miss Frank.
Right on.
We wish you the best, Ron, and Vicky both. Enjoy your retirement years.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. Gives me great pleasure to present the next gentleman, since I've still got a couple of months to go. He can cause me a hell of a lot of trouble. I do want to say one thing. I had something written down here, Glenn, but I'm going to reserve that. But he done something for you that I've never seen him do at a retirement party before he got a haircut. Now that's got to be it. Glenn Schmidt. No, you won't stop picking on me.
I won't stop picking on you. Right? Well, listen, it's a real pleasure to look around here tonight. I'm always really concerned when these retirement parties come up because so many people come back here that have left here for a long time. And they always think of the Night of the Living Dead or Return of the Zombies and all that stuff. And what really gets me upset is they look better than we do. I mean, they're happy, they're skinny, they're smiling, wearing sports shirts. I mean, why are we here? Especially this bunch back here. Strange looking bunch. Well, we're here tonight to honor Ron, and he deserves a lot of honoring. I know Ron from many years back in the past. I was one of those special projects people who went through those early years. And unfortunately, I was over in the other part of the company called engineering.
No.
Don't laugh too much. You were there too, and John and a few other people. And I think I was there about 8 months before I realized we had a manufacturing arm. You remember that? Because all I know is we kept sending the drawings over and nothing ever happened. You know, we'd hear Wallach raise his voice and all that stuff, but nothing ever happened. So finally we bought the parts and built it ourselves. You remember that? And this went on for years, and I always thought, one day I'm going to get in manufacturing. That is the place to be. It's the easiest job in the whole plant. And I did it. One day I did it. So in those days, we had a good time with Ron. He was one of the excellent people over there that later grew on to go over to the other side of the plant and try to straighten it out. Didn't work. In fact, he got kind of frustrated there for a while, decided to leave us and see if he couldn't fix somebody else for a while because he wasn't having any luck with us.
I'm going to get Tim.
You're going to get Tim. Yeah, that'll happen. So what has happened over a period of time is Ron has become one of our special troubleshooters. He's a guy with vast talents, a real knowledge of our plant and how it works, and he has managed to go out there and do a lot of good around the plant, surprisingly. Of course, he's done a lot of other things, too. One of the really big assignments I gave him, and I remember this clearly because it was one of our most pressing problems of the day, was the smocks. I mean, we had a terrible time with the smocks. I mean, everybody was dirtying their smocks, and we had to clean them every week, and they were doing all these bad things, and I said, Ron, go out there and fix that sucker. I know you can do it. Well, you know where we are today. We've gone from a $20,000 a year smock bill to $350,000 a year. Everybody has their own name embossed in gold on the smock, and Ron has been able to retire from the kickbacks he's been getting from the smock dealer. Now that wasn't his only escapade. We had lots of others that he has been on to over a period of time. Like one of the really big assignments we gave him was fixing Caputo. I mean, we felt that he dressed the same as John. They looked a lot alike. They ought to get along well, and therefore he ought to be able to get in there and work with John and really make that place hum. I mean, because John was the nerve center of the plant. I mean, everything was just humming through his place. And what happened over a period of time is that exactly what I predicted happened. They got along well, they looked alike, they did great things, they sat in his office, put their feet up on a table, they drank coffee. Nothing happened. Nothing happened in all that time, except they're really good friends now. Now, Frank, on the other hand, has been much more critical. He feels that Ron really should have got in there and did a lot more. And he never loses an opportunity to tell him about it. Of course, he doesn't lose an opportunity to tell anybody about what they're not doing right. So this is nothing new with Ron. Now, Ron has gone on to bigger and better things over a period of time. One of the really big challenges we gave him was to teach Fisher something about manufacturing. I mean, when I left, I mean, it just created a real hole and a real void. And Fisher... Why are you laughing?
We didn't know you left.
But when I looked at this monstrous void, I felt there was only one person who could fill it, and that was Fisher. And he's lived up to my expectations in spite of all the carrots he eats at lunch. Now, Ron tried working hard with Fisher. He tried to improve him. He tried to teach him something about manufacturing when all he really wanted to do was inspect everything. And he worked with them in order to work with Wallach and work with all the other people so that he would be able to talk their language and really understand what was going on in manufacturing. And I'm sorry to say it didn't work. It hasn't been a total loss, but it hasn't worked as well as I hoped because Fisher is really far more interested in other things. He really is. Eating isn't one of them, though. And then we sent Ron over, of course, to try to help Larikia. And that finished him off. He decided that there was worse things than trying to fix Fisher, and that was trying to fix Larikia. But I got to agree with Frank that he came back with a glowing report about his assignment. He thinks the people in production engineering are the finest people he's ever worked with. They know everything there is to know about the job. And that shows what an astute fellow he is. I mean, you know, he really is a student of human nature. So onwards we go with Ron. Now he's off with his son. And his son will begin to find out that the hardest part in life is trying to take all of these things Ron has learned and throw them in a trash can. I mean, I can't think of anything Ron has learned in the past 25 years that would do him any good in that business. None at all. I mean, you don't even know how to work the telephone. Huh? And for that reason, I can only think that over a period of time you were really good at it, because I've noticed that from job to job you managed to forget the last one really quick and go on to the next one. So you ought to be really good at this one. I see no problems at all. And I hope it works out well. I really do, because I'm looking forward to see how you do working for your son, because I've always wanted to work for my son.
Which one?
I really have. I'm only hope one of them gets a job so I can go to work for him. So listen, Ron, come on up here. I want to shake your hand in public. This has been one of the really fine people and the sterling performers around the plant.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, glad that's over. Schmidt. Okay, that's all I had on the list. Now I'd like to invite, Belinda, sit still. I'd like to invite anybody else that wants to take a shot at him. Now's your opportunity. If not, he's going to take a shot at us. I guess before we do that, does somebody want to speak? Come on, babe, get up here. This is our man from Phoenix. You're not going to thank him or anything,
No. Yeah, I just come all the way down from Arizona here. Couldn't miss my dad's retirement. It's a real proud moment for me and him too, I suppose. He's always been a real hard worker at everything he's done, included his job, family, and a lot of other things he was proud of. One of them, I think, through his career was baseball. He always really enjoyed baseball as long as I can remember. He did things such as he always wanted to win that trophy in the company's name. He was always real proud of his company. That first long time ago, I can't remember before it, but I remember it started off as Hycon, and he battled the best he could. He was really always proud of that mitt. We always looked up to him for that. And then a little bit later, it reorganized, and it was Actron. A lot of you guys who have been around for a long time knew of that. And he again battled. Always played a hard game of baseball and made us kids proud of him and respect him for a lot of different things. But he got buried into management there. He had to put down the mitt for a while, because he was also going to full-time college then, trying to better his career. And again, he had, at that time, 3 very testing teenagers. I got a haircut, too. Anyways, I really appreciated it a few years ago there that the machine shop had challenged him, the management to a game, and I really was anxious to see that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it except for on videotape, but it looked like it was classical and a lot of fun for everybody. The only thing I could say after that game is that you sure have improved your game a lot. But
do a lot with video.
Anyways, I know that you've worked real hard at all you've done. You've been successful as far as I'm concerned with everything, and I'm sure that you'll make a good retirement as well. So.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Good job. Anybody else? Mike, I think you and Don want to give some gifts out or something. Yeah. I think. And Glenn, you were right about Don, the size of things. I can walk down. My belly used to be the biggest one hanging out, but that mother's got me beat.
Frank, as soon as I came up here, I wanted to model myself after you. All I need is suspenders, because you've been so successful.
Ron, can you please come up? These are not tools of the plumbing trade, but this is from everyone. What's the name of our company now? Glenn, we have a name yet?
From us.
This is from all of us.
Okay. Should I open it?
Yeah.
Either open it or break.
It's a McDonnell Douglas gentleman.
Been here.
Yep.
Joe Rock.
Jorit. Thanks, guys. Is it what it looks like it is, or is it a joke? It's a fishing pole.
Right.
Thank you. Right. I just don't trust you, guys. Here, I got it. Whoa. It's got to be the real. Very astute. And a reel. Thank you.
Oh. Wait a minute. Where is it? Frank, you bring the worms?
Yeah. I got the worm.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, for nobody else, wait a minute, I got something else written down here. Oh, my present. Damn near forgot my present. My present's so big it's being delivered. Be at your house when you get home, it's a sheep named Frank.
You're gonna pay for that one.
I'll probably pay for a lot to pass it. I think Ron knows how I feel. I don't think there's a lot of words that I can say. We've been good friends sometimes. Sometimes enemies, like Glenn said. We got into a few, all because of him. Ron, thank you for being a friend. Sheila, from now on I gotta hug you because he won't be there. And I don't like bald-headed people.
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna tell your wife.
It's okay. Got to use my glasses for this.
Don't feel bad.
Well, this is going to be tough, let me tell you.
Wasn't for me.
Yep. This is probably one of the hardest things I've done ever, really. 34 years is a long time to work for a company, especially when you're as young as I am. In fact, I'm really almost a product of the company. I've been here so long, as far as my adult life is, anyway.
Product of the company, what do we call it?
Basically, I really grew up in special projects. I was there for, I don't know, 20-some years. Started off there when I was 19, so I really would like to give special thanks to all of those people from special projects. They really mean something to me and deep in my heart. I've got a lot of fond memories of all of you. So I want to give special recognition to all the people from special projects. Well, maybe excluding Glenn. I'm not sure about him yet. I also would like to thank the manufacturing senior managers. That'd be Caputo, Payne, Bapty, and Gene Wallach.
Gene too?
Especially Gene too. Yeah. I've been really closely associated with them for the past 5 years, and actually, I mean, before that, I guess for the last 10 years. But especially since I came back from Washington in '85.
Washington.
Washington. One of my jobs working with the senior managers was to try to get a consensus amongst them. And I think most of you know Gene and Mary and Bapty and Caputo, and that's a tough thing to do. And getting those guys in a room together, it's like a I think a ride on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride or something at Disneyland. That was an experience, but or an elevator. Bapty's not here. I wanted to say something about him, but maybe you can give him a message. And that is, we're getting sick and tired of hearing him say that he carpools with Glenn Schmidt. Every time he wants something, I want you to get him that message.
That picture's ticked now.
Caputo, he's a tough guy to get mad at, for me anyway. We can get in an argument, and I'll give you what I tell him sometimes is not these exact words, but it's something like, screw you. And he says, okay.
Hey, Fisher, the replacement.
Gene, everybody knows Gene, and I don't know, all I can say is when we get in the room, all four of us, five of us, Gene, all you see is smoke coming out of his ears and steam coming out of his nose and veins in his neck bulging, and 5 minutes later he's smiling, just as happy as anything. I don't think he'll ever have a heart attack. He lets it out. And Mary, I love Mary. I'm in love with her. She's a great person, and let me tell you, she's got a man in every port. She does. She gets calls in the middle of the night from New York, New Jersey. I don't know. How do you know? Well, that's a good question, John. I'm going to tell you. But I would also, I would like to give special recognition to Mary for she's gone back to school. She's got her BA degree. Mike Fascia, Ruthie, and also her master's degree. And she's really worked hard at it, and I'm really proud of that. And I'd like to for everybody to give her a hand. She has one problem, and it has something to do with she keeps bumping her head on some invisible thing up here. It'll sink in.
Is Glenn still smiling?
No, I'm not looking over there. Incidentally, Mike and Don, I saw Glenn's organization chart today, and we're going to be collecting for your going away party after this one. Also, I'd like to say that, you know, Glenn, he mentioned that he's from engineering originally, and of course Don's from quality. And they both did come to work in manufacturing, and you know, it just proves one thing: is you just can't turn two ducks into two pheasants. There's another group I'd like to acknowledge, and that's the Lunch Bunch. Just really a great group of people, and actually they're just we talk about everything. There's really hardly any subjects that are off limits, and nothing sacred. That's right. And we eat and we laugh. I think we probably laugh off everything we eat. You know, well, maybe not.
I ain't gonna laugh that much.
Yeah. Rita Davis is one of the members, and Rita, I think most of you know her. She's a little sawed-off shrimp that's hyperactive. I mean, she just talks, and she'll talk for 10 minutes, and we just have not the slightest idea what she said. So I was going to invite her up here and have her talk for 5 minutes, and I'll give anybody $10 if they can tell me what she said. Sheila is one of the other ones. This can be hard. I don't know if I can explain this real good, but
You did a good job right there.
Sheila's an animal lover. But she seems to have problems with a lot of her animals. And she's had quite a few of them put to sleep. And it doesn't sound funny, it probably isn't, but Bob has had one of his dogs die at home, and he buried his dog in the backyard. And then I come to Bob, and I got a real problem here, you know? And Bob is such a nice guy, he's almost perfect. I can't think of anything to burn him with. Frank, can you help me? I really don't. I could not think of a single thing. The only thing maybe is his character or something that he laughs at every joke I tell, and there's got to be something wrong with him there, I guess. And Frank, my good friend. Frank is going to be retiring in couple 3 months if things work out.
54 days, right?
Yeah.
Recounted that, that's 47, get it.
And Frank has already bought some land in Arizona, Prescott, Arizona.
Prescott, not Cotton.
Right. And we talked about it quite a few times at lunch. What he's going to do when he moves to Prescott, and he's going to build this house, and he's going to sit around and watch the birds and the squirrels, and he's into animals too. So we said, well,
That's why I said my favorite sheep.
Yeah. So we tried to figure out, well, what could he do? You know, like if he's going to have a job or something in Arizona. We go, well, you know, one thing they have is they have a lot of sheep. And, you know, he could make a good sheep herder. So... I'm not done yet. You're gonna pay. So, shut up. And Frank's been back and forth to Prescott quite a few times, and it just so happens that Vicki and I were on our way to Phoenix to see Stephen, and lo and behold, we passed a whole field full of sheep. And there's this one little lamb, and it was kind of listing to the right, you know. And I got up close and I looked, and the little thing had Frank's eyes. I know it was. I just know it was.
Your retirement, not mine.
Yeah. I want to tell you something, Frank. I've got some good news and I got some bad news for you. Vicki, would you give me that little thing under there?
That's why you couldn't tell me what the hell that was.
That's right. Frank, you can come up here then. Yeah, get your butt up here. Well, the last time Vicki and I went to Phoenix and we passed the same field, we saw this little lamb again, and I went out and captured him, got him.
Captured a
yeah,
lamb?
that's the good. You betcha. That's the good news. We captured him and brought him back. The bad news is that I gave him to Sheila to babysit for. She took him to the vet. Anytime.
She killed my life. It looks like Glenn's hair.
Anyway, I want to thank everybody, and maybe I ought to do one last act here. The boys in the back know about this. Take my tie off. Now, I'm going to quote one of the great men of the 20th century. Free at last, free at last. Thank Almighty God, I'm free at last. Thank you.
I'm not even going to answer it. That's it. It's over. Thanks the family for coming. Steve, thanks a lot for coming over. Tim, you're in trouble. Everybody looking at me for it. It's done. Get some food.
That was fun.
Good job, babe. Thank you. Thanks, Kenny, for your help. Good job. Where's Gina? Tell her thanks a lot. I don't know how the hell you do this without you there. I really don't. Thank you. Good to see you, boy. Same here, bud.
Just that I wish my dad all the luck. I don't know. I know he's going to miss everything. I don't know what to say. What up?
He's on the road.
So,